Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Reality Roundup. I'm Maddie. That's Mariama. Today we are talking about episodes 4 through 6 of the season of Love is Blind, which thank God picked up. I was bored to tears. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty decent.
What are your overall thoughts on episodes 4 through 6?
Oh my God. There were just some really disappointing feminism moments for me.
Was there
Um,
feminism? Were there any feminism moments? Are you sure about this?
well, I mean, like I was disappointed by the lack of feminism is what I probably should
uh,
clarify.
didn't
But then
expect it. I'm good.
Uh, but then I remembered the thing that you remind me of all the time, which is these are grown-ass women, and I don't need to infantilize them. Other than that, I mean, it starts to definitely pick up because we're about to leave the pods, which helps the pace, I guess, of the show. But it was just kind of
I agree. Was very eh. Who do we
Mhm.
want to who do we want to start with? Let's actually start with Daniel and Taylor.
Oh, okay. Yay.
Yay.
Am I not thinking? I like Danny and Taylor.
They grow on me. They're actually my favorite by the time we get to like the next batch of episodes. But
Yeah.
in this batch of episodes, very, very boring, and
Oh, yeah, they're very boring.
he may have followed her on Instagram. This is what I
Oh, yes, that's true. We get this information now at this point. I mean,
do you think he's telling the truth?
oof.
I'll tell you my thoughts after you say yours.
I'm not sure because it isn't clear to me that she finds out the truth because she makes a stink about being able to check the follower thing, but it's not clear to me about whether or not she's like finishes the task, if that makes
Yeah, correct.
sense. So I
Um,
I think it's possible. I mean, Minneapolis isn't that big.
well, I guess the implication is like, did I think it's implausible that he followed her on Instagram, realized that she was going to be on Love is Blind, then unfollowed her quickly, and then found her through the
Oh
and then
no, I
got
don't
her
think
to
no.
like fall in love with him. Like, I think her biggest thing is that like he knew exactly who I was, he knew all my information, and he used those things to like create a bond so that he could
Mm.
marry me. I think that's pretty implausible, but I think there's a chance, a small chance, just by the way he was acting in that hotel, that like he knew exactly who the hell she that he like followed her and knew who she was, and then was just like, well, it doesn't like, or he figured it out at some point in the thing, especially like because they show us a conversation where she says
Mm-hmm.
her handle, and he's at that point he's talking about how good he is with at Instagram handles and stuff. I just think like even if he may have realized who she was, like at that point they were already pretty far in. Like that's the
Yeah.
only point that I could think that maybe he knew that that was the girl, because how else would he confirm that? And then her like personal information was that she likes, her Instagram is all about faith, family, and Taco Bell. Baby, that's every white woman nurse in the Midwest, babe. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't
you're
exactly groundbreaking, we'll
you're
say.
not unique. Like, yeah,
Yes.
it wasn't like a unique set of interests, or unique sort of like
Yeah.
Instagram, like public facing design to let the world know. Like, you're
It would be the first time. I mean, I don't know if you watched that season where we had the
the
black man,
exes.
yeah, the ex that was there. So I mean, it wouldn't be the first time
But
that
they knew each when they were talking through the wall, right?
yes.
Yeah,
But
like, yeah, that's happened. Like the one I can think about is on Married at First Sight. Johnny and Bao, they knew each other in college.
oh,
They'd gone on a date or something, but they were like in the same like student org. They'd gone on a date, and then he like ghosted her in college, and then they were their profiles like matched them on Married at First Sight, and then they ended
wild.
up not, wow, it wasn't a good
No,
thing.
wild, not wow. Wild. Yes. That is
um
absolutely wild.
that's like the one I can think of. I think it's highly unlikely that he was able to manipulate like the production and the matching like through the wall to get
Mm.
that girl and be sure that he was going to get her, because also she's not the only woman on that side that's talking about her love of Taco Bell and And Jesus, I bet you.
No, we got like 14 nurses this season anyway. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's Minneapolis. No, I completely agree. It never crossed my mind that even if he did like follow and unfollow her, that this was some sort of like long-term plot. Like it just there are too many factors that were out of control, especially when we find out, I think actually maybe in episode 7 through 9, that um they approached him to be on the show if he's telling the
Yeah.
truth, of course. And
Yeah.
so I was just kind of
Well, he
like,
said it on camera and they left it in, so I'm gonna assume he's not lying.
hopefully, well, either that or they're trying to catch him in a lie, which they'll do that too. But um, yeah, it seems really implausible that like that all of those things would fall into place perfectly
You
for him
know
to
what
do
I
that.
think? Because I was in our last episode, I was like, oh, she might not be jiving with his height, especially with the amount of time that he talked. I think that like if he was fine enough for her, this is a non-issue. Like, and it might
Yes.
even be a joke. Like, it might even be like, did you know me? Because I feel like you used to follow me on. Oh my God, like, isn't that crazy? At this point, at episode 6, I thought she was trying to get out of it. I was like, oh, she doesn't like him,
Yeah.
and this is like her thing. It's like so loose, and like how emotional she is about it. Like it just doesn't make sense for like the even if he did all of that, like the infraction. Like,
And it was so out of production, if that makes sense. Like that was the thing that struck me is I was just like, what are we doing in this? When they like panned to her in the hotel, I was like, what the hell are we doing in this hotel? And then the fact that like it was so serious that they were willing to give her her phone back, I was like, oh, well, maybe she's really not trying to get out of this. Maybe this is like a real thing that she's worried about.
yeah, I don't know. I At this point I was like, oh, she don't want that man.
It
Do
was
you have
just so
anything else
serious.
on Daniel and Taylor? I don't remember. It's been such a long time since we watched the episode. I don't remember. If
Not really. I they get their oh no. When did they get their reveal? They get their reveal during the set of episodes.
they do, like everybody reveals during this set of
Yes,
episodes. They do it in like episode 6.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what my note means. But I don't know. I think that they're just like, eh. I'm hoping that this drama is the same level of the birth control drama, just like a thing that's there, but is not really all that serious at the end of the day. Hopefully, because I would like a normal couple.
Okay. Um, are you ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay. I want to move on to Ben and Sarah. I probably should have put them down closer to the bottom because they were pretty interesting. What do you think about Ben and Sarah?
At this point in time, I so episode 4 starts with their conversation about BLM and George Floyd,
Mm-hmm.
and I just oh god, I first of all I didn't want to hear it. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't want to hear their opinions on it. I don't really want to hear anyway, but the way that he says that he's just not knowledgeable enough to speak on it, I was like, this is such a cop out to me. Like I just I don't I did not like it, but I was actually more upset with Sarah for not standing on business about her beliefs.
Didn't I say this? I said this. I was
I can't remember.
like when we talked in episode 1, and she was they were talking about like his faith and his like
And the gay sister.
and her gay sister. I was like, Sarah's gonna ignore any like any differences they have politically in order to have a man. Like
Yeah.
she gives, I don't want to say like white feminist, but she gives like white liberal activist woman, right? Like
Yes.
she gives
Yes.
like white woman activist, white woman liberal activist, which
Mm-hmm.
is like the value, like she wants to share her beliefs so that people around her know that like or belief I say that her know her political positions, but that doesn't really like there is that doesn't really like bleed into her life and how she lives her life, right?
Yes.
It's all theoretical, it's all thoughts. It's like I don't think, and it affected me and it impacted me, and I just couldn't ignore it anymore. So this is very important to me. because I know that if it's not that, people will have certain opinions of me. And he's like, yeah, I don't care. And they just start joking like
And they
immediately
just literally
after.
move on. Yeah.
And she's so in love, like still.
It reminds me of during the election, all of those TikToks that I think people thought were going to go over a lot well, where it was like a white woman, like, go on my way to cancel out my husband's vote. And I was like, why
Yeah.
are you with that man? Like, why, if you feel like you need to cancel out his vote, what are we doing? The call is coming from inside of the house. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it felt like to me.
I no to me it was very like reminiscent of like anytime you see a man like a public figure who's like horrible or has like really terrible um political ideals, like the
Mm-hmm.
way people rush to like absolve their wives and being like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like,
Mm-hmm.
well, she's secretly like super like against all of those things. And I was like, so why is she married to him? The assumption is that like she's not cool with it. I think because I did see that. Well, I guess we'll talk about it in episode 7 and 9, like the preview for 10 through 11, which we haven't watched it. We have seen 7 through 9. We haven't seen 10 through 12 yet.
Hmm.
It seems like they're like at dinner with like the sister, and the sister's like, "Girl, why are you here?" And Sarah's like, "I don't care. I
It
don't care about
yes.
what you got going."
If that is that is her sister, then that definitely seems like the vibe. Oh my gosh. I was a little bit disappointed at first, but then I remembered all of those TikToks in the fall and I was just like, this is just it's the same energy. It's all the same energy, really, truly.
It's exactly what I expected from Sarah. I still think the drama of their relationship is gonna come when she realizes that his apathy toward like progressive causes or like his misogyny or his like whatever doesn't stop at the front door, and that
Mm-hmm.
it is gonna be in the shared apartment, the Netflix provided apartment as well. Like if that comes up, I think that's gonna be her straw. Other than
Yeah.
that, if it's just directed at groups of people that aren't her, even if those people are family to her,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she cares. And
Which
it's crazy weird because I kind of really like Sarah, especially after yeah, like like I started like really she started like really warming up to me. I like most of these women honestly. I like Taylor a lot too. In this batch
mm,
of episodes and in the next batch of episodes. So I was like, my sister.
it was yeah, I was just kind of like, oh no, we're gonna do the thing. We're gonna do the thing where we just put it all aside for love, I guess.
I don't
Even
think this is
though
for love. I think this is to not be single. I don't think she wants.
ooh, excellent, excellent delineation. Truly, very true. What a
Yeah,
mess. What
that's
a
the
mess,
only
Sarah.
thing we have from them. I don't think there's anything else to be said on those two unless you have something else.
No, we just see the
Ben,
reveal.
super annoying.
He's just kind of he does not annoy me that much. No, not really. Just compare. I mean, but I think he's not annoying me that much because we have bigger fish to fry. The only other thing about Ben and Sarah is obviously they get their reveal, and it seems to go well aesthetically for them.
Yeah. Um, I don't. Yeah. Okay. Devin, Virginia, and Brittany. The next on the list.
Um, I was not heartbroken, but I was incredibly disappointed by the um Devin's lack of good
Well,
response.
tell us and well, tell me and the audience what's going on.
Oh, very true. So in episode 4, we have our love triangle between Britt, Devin, and Virginia still happening. A very calm love triangle, of course. But Devin, I don't know, I can't remember which one of them starts the conversation, but they want to dive into more of a deep topic. So Devin shares about
I'm
his
smiling, but
I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking. I'm sorry. I'll
no,
give you a chance to
I'm
smile.
smiling because I know what you're about to say, but it's not because I think it's funny.
See, I okay.
Go ahead, continue.
Because I have something kind of
Go ahead,
rude to
continue.
say. Um that we see Devin share first with Brittany about his experience growing up playing basketball and having an injury that resulted in him in the story that he tells to Brittany, it's more of an injury, like self-harm situation. There were points in time where I did not want to live anymore. The story that he tells Virginia is the same story, but it kind of leans more, maybe Virginia kind of makes it lean a little bit more into the addiction side of things for the ibuprofen, which I thought was a very interesting difference in the way that at least we're shown the conversations. And so Brittany's very grateful for, she goes first. Brittany's really grateful for hearing that information and him being so honest. And so she, in vulnerability and bravery, is like, I have to tell you something too. And she proceeds to tell him that she's had some queer experiences. She does not label herself at any point in time. At least I don't remember her labeling herself. But she just
She
tells,
definitely states that she's attracted to women, and honestly, from what she described, she was in a relationship with a woman. She, I think she may have
yes,
called it like an experience or something.
she does call it an experience, yeah. And
Um,
she's very quick to say, like, I don't, I'm not judging her for this at all. In fact, this is kind of how I think, but she's very quick to like reinforce him that like when I see my future though, like I see a man, right?
mhm,
Kind of preempting, which is a very common insecurity that happens, not just with men. Honestly, men and lesbians are like lockstep on this situation with bi women, but um where she's just like, but I see myself with a man. Like, these are some experiences that I've had, like, very calm, very neutral, honestly, about it. And he doesn't respond terribly, but he also doesn't respond well. And so I think it becomes very clear to us that that is like the end of their relationship within this batch of episodes because he just does not respond well. And then,
well, it doesn't become clear to us. She dumps him the next day. She's just like, I need somebody who can handle that conversation.
yeah. Can
Like
I say something?
he
Oh,
doesn't. It doesn't seem like he's like out. But go ahead. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
I was just going to say the thing that really bothers me secondarily about this conversation is that we are led to believe that Britt tells Virginia that this kind of thing just happened. And much in a way, much like Sara, I'm going to say it, I'm sorry. She completely is just like, whatever, that's still my man. And I was just kind of like, your man told,
I don't have no problem with her saying that. I caught that
it
too.
bothered the fuck out of me.
I
Oh,
caught
sorry,
that too
bothered me.
because I caught it too because one, like Brittany, I don't know, like I don't know how close they are. It seems like Brittany, it might be kind of like a friend to everybody, but like she just kind of walks through. She's like, yeah, I shared this with him. He didn't seem like the most comfortable. She doesn't like assassinate his character. She
No, she
doesn't make
doesn't.
not that she needed to, but she doesn't make any like real commentary on like that means that or I believe that he may be homophobic or da 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 or whatever. She doesn't say anything like that. She just goes, it seems like he didn't like handle it well. I wish he would have reacted a little differently. Like, what is Virginia supposed to do with that information? All right, girl, thanks for sharing. You be safe.
I just feel like I would
um,
ask him about it if I was
maybe
Virginia.
she did, and we didn't see it. Maybe she did,
That's true.
and he answered well, and it wasn't drama, and thus, like whatever.
Yeah,
No, I
hopefully.
actually like the way I there are a few
No,
things.
you're giggling again.
There are a few things. I'm not gonna lie. I laughed at the ibuprofen addiction because I was like, I feel like 20 ibuprofen. Like, what is ibuprofen really doing for you, babe? But I don't know what type of pain that brother was in.
Well,
God,
his hips and his femurs were rubbing against each other, so I'm assuming a lot.
again, ibuprofen, over the counter ibuprofen. He didn't say I went to the doctor. They prescribed me an ibuprofen because I've had the prescription
Hmm.
strength like ibuprofen like when I had my wisdom out, and that really is something.
Oh
Like
no.
my dental surgeon was like when I was doing it, they were like, hey, like just you're gonna get some like over the counter like ibuprofen, and then I'm gonna give you this prescription. Only use this if the like over the counter stuff isn't working. So like the first like couple of days I used the like regular one, and I was like, like okay, and maybe that night or the second night I used that baby 9 hours of sleep, and it was supposed to be a nap. That was a 9 hour nap.
God. Oh
The
my
pain,
God.
no, on God. And if you've ever had like tooth pain, it's like horrifying. The pain was gone like that. Like
Oh God.
legitimately 6 minutes after I swallowed the pill, not even. There was no more pain. I laid down, I put on a movie, I woke up. It was 3 a.m. I said, you know what? Let me just not use that anymore. And I didn't take another. I think I took two pills. My prescription had like 20 in there, or maybe 10. And I
Mhm.
took like two pills and I never took it again. And I had to like throw it out after like I went in for my follow up checkup and he told me I was good. So,
I crazy work. I'm
but
so
he's talking about over the counter ibuprofen. Like, you know what? We spent too much time on this.
well, see, but to circle us back around, but see, that's why I said it in my little description that the
I,
conversation with Virginia leans more toward the addiction, but the conversation with Brittany leans more toward like I was trying to kill myself at some points.
well, again, like, I'm not going to read too much into that because if those conversations are shown to us chronologically, he may have just been like, I just told this story earlier this morning, like,
I think so,
and
probably.
cried about it. Like, hey, I was addicted to ibuprofen. Are you cool with that? To me, I didn't really notice like a huge difference in the conversation in the way that he told it. Um, I probably wasn't paying a lot of attention. I'll be honest. Like, I may have been bored during this as well too.
That's fine.
But no, I
Mhm.
want to like go back on Devin and Brittany.
Yes.
The thing, so when she tells him, I don't I don't have like a lot of like animus towards Devin in that like I don't think he did anything like particularly like horrifying here. Oh, and I'll tell you why. It's because I have some like additional information about the show that you may not be privy to. So, but
Okay.
even when I was watching it, to me, I thought he had reasons to be concerned because Brittany sounded unsure about like Brittany sounded like a lesbian who was like 2 years from coming out as a lesbian.
Are we gonna go there right
Like, so I was like, because like
now? Normally, you don't want
she
to.
wasn't saying like, hey, like I'm attracted to women, I'm attracted to men. She was conflicted, and I was like, he should be concerned, right? Like he should be concerned. Now it doesn't seem maybe that wasn't his concern. Maybe it was just the homophobia of it all. Because I do think his line of questioning was more towards like, are you sure you're not gonna want a woman later? And she was trying to like just reassure him like, hey, like I'm monogamous, like it doesn't really matter who I'm attracted to, like I'm monogamous, like she could, even if she wasn't interested in him, she could just still cheat on you with a man, babe. Like
That's what they always forget.
so like that's like the only thing, but like to me, like watching it, Brittany seemed like she was ready to bust out. Well, she was trying to like squeeze those closet doors.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And then like the one thing that I noted is that like when she decides to like break up with him,
You are throwing a one woman cancellation party for this podcast right now. And I'm not saying anything
did
yet.
you notice that when she went to break up with him that she had on her power suit? And it made me think of that like Sex in the City episode of like the power suit wearing lesbians at the art gallery.
Oh my. Now, am I saying that I disagree with you about Brittany's trajectory? I am not. But that's because of the women's basketball thing. I have to say it, and I'm saying it with
Is
my
it
chest.
really?
It is
I
because
mean,
I always,
it's
yeah.
a thing. It's a stereotype and a for a reason because
From the beginning, I was like, why are we here dating men? We have a whole other world open to us that I think you'd be happier in,
I
Queen.
don't know. I think that's like a weird thing to say, honestly. But no. What was I gonna say? Dang, you made me lose my train of thought.
I still want a queer version of the
Oh,
show.
the other part of the thing that the part that I know. So the it's been confirmed that Brittany actually got engaged to another man on the show, man named Mo. He's a black man with a bald head.
Oh,
And so knowing that information, that's why I'm just like, cuz she he probably knew she was dating other people as well too. Like, and if she was dating someone else, like that's why she was quick to cut him off because she's like, I got two niggas. Like, I'm not sweating you. Like,
Oh, that really bothers me. And I know we've talked about this before on the pod that like we don't get to see all the couples and I understand production and time, but that really bothers me this time around. I would have loved to see something about that because Mo's in the background always.
yeah, he's there a lot. Hold on real quick.
Hmm.
I had to take the light down a little bit. Now I look terrible, but it's just
Okay.
but yeah, so like with that information, I'm like not as probably like not as upset at everyone in the situation because it's just like Brittany is clearly like, well, not clearly, but like we can assume was seeing multiple people during the time that this
Valid.
conversation was happening and then just chose to go with somebody else anyway. And then like that probably led into like his sort of like questioning and insecurities or whatever. But do
Do
you have
they
any more thoughts on the two of them? I want to talk about Devin and Virginia a bit.
do they film everybody and we just
Hmm.
don't see every okay, that's what it is.
They're
No,
all
I
they're there
yeah.
to the end dating. I actually think they don't get engaged until like the end, and then we're just shown the engagements. Like I'm pretty.
Mm.
I think they all get. Well, yeah. Well, I'm not sure actually.
Because Joey and Monica are like right away.
Yes, they're shown to us right away, but they may have been engaged like 7 days in, 8 days in, and then we just saw it in
Oh.
episode two or whatever for what we're
Hmm.
um because like there was nothing else to show us of them, so they just show
Yeah,
like
that
the
makes
two
sense.
little conversations that we would care about, and then them getting engaged. If from what I understand, I do think that like they're like people aren't getting engaged on like day 2 and 3 like some
I would
like
hope
I
not.
think like everyone is like going through like multiple days up to a certain point and then like they're all getting engaged like closer to the same amount. It's not what I mean is like not one couple isn't getting engaged and then like sitting around the pots for 7 days and then the next couple gets
Yeah.
engaged 7 days later. They're all pretty much getting engaged on like the same few days.
I would assume that at least production, just in terms of filming, would want to like have a little bit of control over that anyway.
Which and we
Um,
also see both Joey and Monica like in the guys and girls lounges through episode 6.
that's the thing that has been like helpful to me in the last few seasons of like keeping track of time is looking at other people in the background and especially people's outfits and being like, okay, I see Britt wearing that outfit in the background and she wore that outfit like when she was having this conversation what we perceived to be 2 days ago. That has like helped because obviously there are no windows, there's nothing, there's absolutely nothing to indicate time, so that has been very helpful. Devin and Virginia.
Devin and Virginia, what are your thoughts?
Nothing really. I mean, I'm intrigued because we had a conversation in the first set of episodes, or they had a conversation in the first set of episodes that um like Devin says like some version of like I want to be married so I should know everything about you. And I don't feel like we get that much additional information or see that really come to fruition.
No, the one thing that Virginia really did grow on me. Their relationship is a little boring. It seems like they just get along. They have no real friction, so we just get a lot of like I feel like a lot of the people on this season like don't have real conversations. They all kind of speak
Mm.
they all kind of speak in this like theoretical like internet like dating podcast space where like it's
What
just
do you
like
mean?
not like those conversations like pop up online. The only ones I can think of is like 50-50 or provider man but like how like when people like talk about these things they just
Hmm.
kind of speak in these like platitudes and
Oh, like this is what I would like from the mother of my children kind of
yeah like
situation.
and oh
Yeah.
he called me the mother of his children. That I was like, come on babe, come on, it's descriptive like it's also probably not as never mind. Um,
Lauren, I'm
the
sorry,
the
please.
the one thing that I will say like Virginia grew on me quite a bit in this set than she did in the first set, and like the funniest thing she said was like I just feel like that's too much basketball for one household.
Mind you, wasn't she an NBA dancer?
Virginia?
I thought she was the one who was the NBA the basketball
No,
dancer.
no. She's the PhD health.
No, but she was before she got her
Oh,
PhD.
she may have been, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, she was a Timberwolf dancer.
Yes.
Oh, yes, because I wrote another
Mm-hmm.
note about her in episodes 7 through 9. Yes, she was a Timberwolves dancer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But like, too, like it was like super funny because she was like, I know they got their little like basketball thing in common, but I just feel like
That was so like inadvertently foul, but also like very funny to
very,
me.
very hilarious.
It was said seriously, so
I don't have much else on them.
no, they were very
I don't
boring.
remember any of the engagements to be quite honest. Their reveal I don't remember much of, but I do remember having a thought. I don't know if it's this episode or episode 7, 6 or 7, where I was like, she might not be into him, and then she quickly dispels that. Like, so
Yeah, I was kind of about their reveal. It didn't seem like they like clicked, but honestly, it probably was just being awkward in terms of meeting each other for the first time.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
because
ready
we've
to
seen
move
some
on?
terrible reveals. Yes, I mean the love triangle was very very calm, resolved very graciously.
Okay, next set. Dave, Molly, and Lauren.
Oh,
I
I
need you
don't
to say words.
I don't like Dave, Molly, or Lauren.
Oh, who's Molly? I didn't already. Molly is redhead. I like Molly.
I don't like any of them. I'm
Okay, tell me
sorry.
why.
Dave, and I know you're going to be like the therapeutic agenda, the therapeutic agenda. I feel like Dave, baby, we should have talked to somebody before we just came on this experiment because what are we doing? We're looking for a
Why?
mom.
What are you seeing? Like,
Well, he makes such a big fuss about him um wanting to be different than he has always been, right? And I think that just in the description of how he used to be, he seems to be doing, I guess, maybe better, but he seems to be I feel like he's spending like so much time figuring these things out with these women as though these women do not also have feelings for him, right? Like they're not.
that's a really good point. The thing that I thought about Dave is using the experiment as like a self-healing journey,
Yeah, thank you.
like a
Perfectly said.
like for his own personal like healing, when like that's not the purpose. You're here to get married. And I thought
Yes.
that because he had a
Mm.
confessional where he was like, oh, this process is really revealing. It's like it's like a self-revelatory experience for him. And I was like, yeah, like that's cool, but like you could have done that on a yoga retreat. Like
Yes. Anything
um
other than this.
what I want to talk about what I remember is Lauren seems desperate.
Yes.
Like Lauren is trying to win the game, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
honestly, careful what you wish for.
Yes.
Like, so
Perfectly
the
said.
story here is that Molly got a big mouth. She's a busybody. She likes to talk. She's running around the house. She's telling everybody about how well things are going with her and Dave. And Lauren takes that as like a personal, like as a maybe like a personal affront to her because she assumes that Molly knows that she
Yes.
is the other woman that Dave is dating. When from what we're shown, maybe Molly's lying to the confessional and to the girls, but like from what we're shown is that Molly doesn't believe that Lauren is the other person. And Lauren like straight up asks her. Like what was really weird is that conversation where Molly is talking to other people about her match, her connection. And
Mm-hmm.
then Lauren comes into that conversation late and is like, "Who are you talking about?" And Molly's like, "We're talking about her." And she's like, "Tell me who." I think like at this point, Lauren already knows that Molly might be talking to Dave, where she suspects it. But then
She's no, she knows.
she sits down and asks Molly who she's talking about. Molly tells her it's Dave, and then she just gets up and leaves and is personally offended, and
Mm-hmm.
never once goes and go, "Oh yeah, I'm talking to him too." Like, and then
Mm-mm.
just assumes that that would like she assumes that like Molly is doing the thing that she's clearly doing or clearly trying to do, but it's
Yes.
obviously not effective because Molly just doesn't know that she's dating Dave. And
Yes.
so there's nothing to be offended about when you come in happy, like because you're not happy about my man, girl. Like,
Yes. Molly does not like it. Molly clearly does not have the same information that Lauren thinks she has. And Lauren proceeds to, I think you said this in an earlier episode, this pot or the season. There's like a little bit of reality TV show gamification happening now in these later seasons that we don't see as much in the first few seasons, I think. And this to me
Hmm.
was the best example so far, where it's like when we see it with
The
Margaret and
square.
Madison too, where it gets like competitive, and I'm like, for this prize, really?
Yeah, I mean, they don't know what they have, and I want to talk about this when we talk about the love square. Like, I just, I think that wall is doing a lot of these men a world of favor. Um,
Yes.
but
Oops.
yeah, so like the huge conflict that arises is Dave, like Dave is he tells Molly at some point verbatim, "You've been my number one from day one." And like
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's an argument to be made that he doesn't say that you're my number one now or that I'm going to get engaged to you, but there is subtext to be read there that I am more sure of this connection than I am of my other connection.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
also starts talking to her unprovoked about his mother's wedding ring and that his father may be saving it. And, like, again, he doesn't say, I'm going to propose to you and give you my mother's wedding ring, but there is once again subtext in the way that conversations work in the human world amongst adults. There is subtext there to assume that he may be considering proposing to her.
Yes, exactly. I'm just writing down a thought
And
so I
then
don't forget.
she has to be the one that's like, wait, hold on, slow your roll. Like, don't you have a sister? Maybe your sister would want your
Oh
your
my
mom's
gosh,
like
yes, that
wedding
was
ring.
so
And he
uncomfortable.
was like, oh, that's really thoughtful. Thank God you thought about that. Like, nigga, you should have thought about that. It's your sister.
If I'm your sister and I'm watching this, I'm punching you in the arm
And
at
we got to talk
least.
about him and his sister because it starts in the pods where he's really scared what his sister might think, and he's just scared if his sister's not gonna like who he brings home. I want to like talk about Dave's choice because to me,
Mm,
I felt like Molly like probably didn't have a lot in common to Dave. It just seemed like she was just agreeing with everything he said in episodes 1 through 3. But
yeah.
in this batch of episodes, it seemed to me that he was leaning toward her and then just didn't pick her for some reason, and that I'm not sure about. I do think like Lauren may have like strong armed him a bit. I think she was much more like expressive in being like, I like you, I want to
Mm,
be with you, I like you, I want to be with you. Why aren't you choosing me? It's really hard to like imagine you with another woman. And like Molly was, she was on Love Is Blind, and she's like, this is what happens on Love Is Blind. Your person
yes.
may be seeing multiple people. I also think like there's something to be said there that he really did seem to be one to want to be doted over and pursued by the ladies as well too. So
Yes. I
what?
mean, there's so many things to talk about, Dave, particularly in 7 through 9, but I I don't think I ever thought he was leaning either way, more toward Molly or, well, in this series of episodes, more toward Molly or Lauren. But I do think that Lauren, um, I think we see a parallel with this in Mason when we talk about the square, that kind of like the fear of losing out on something kind of like triumphs over, because Dave says multiple times during confessional, maybe even a little bit toward Lauren him or herself, where he's like, I'm, trying to be different than I've always been, like some version of like I'm trying to pick differently than I always would have, and like
Mm,
some version of Molly being something that I would have liked before, and whatever,
yeah,
whatever, which always happens every season. There's always some foolishness like this, but I think the fear of losing Lauren kind of triumphs everything else, which
the
I
fear of Dave's fear of
Yes,
okay.
yes. I think he just freaks out, honestly, about
Oh
losing
yeah, that because
Lauren.
she does threaten to go home. Well, she says like maybe I should just go home if it's not gonna be.
Well, yeah, because she makes it very clear
I
that
would,
he's her only thing, and that she's only,
girl,
I think
that's your
she's,
problem. You're supposed to be dating multiple people.
she
Don't you
says
know?
something along the lines of like, I'm only still here for you, or something like
Yeah,
that.
like don't you know
Yeah.
what show you're on? You better get to talking to them other boys.
Well,
Um,
clearly not.
listen, the thing that God, I just almost lost the thought again. The thing that I want to like say about like the last like series of conversations that we see between them. Is it just me or is Dave straight up like there's a point where he said if I had said that it would have been a lie. And again, the implication, the subtext there is that he lied to Molly, and Lauren is just like, oh, so why would she think that? Like Lauren's willingness to believe Dave's word more than
Mm-hmm.
Molly. Like to me,
Mm-hmm.
that was like the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing that I was like, girl, you're not even really like trying to assess like what's going on. You just want to be chosen. Like
Yes.
you
Yes.
just want to win out, and that I feel like your goals should be much more lofty than just winning against Molly. Like if you're really trying
Yes.
to get married and like spend your life with somebody, you should be behaving, maybe it's wrong of me to say that or assume that, but you should be behaving in a different way because like when they talk, Molly's like, "No, he told me I was his number one." Again, he didn't say that verbatim, but he
Mm-hmm.
implied it heavily. Like
Yes.
Molly is not like pulling it out of her ass. Like she's not pulling these conversations out of her ass.
No.
Dave is, I think, trying to lead her to believe that he may be choosing her.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, at some points when I was watching the episode, I felt like he might be choosing her. Like when she is like, I feel like he's gonna dump somebody else today. I was like, I don't know if he said that, but I was like, I can see why you think that for sure. Like,
Absolutely.
and then so like when Lauren goes and they're still like dating. Also, Madison, girl, you're messy as fuck. Madison sitting there getting all the tea from Molly, and
And
then like,
immediately turning back around. Oh my God, Madison, please. Just in the kitchen yapping,
Matt,
immediately yapping.
bro, I'm like, I'm like, Molly, do you not see Madison just getting up like right after you spill all your tea and walking right over to Lauren?
And
Like,
yapping at full volume, girl. Like, come on now. The room isn't that big.
at full volume in sight of all the other girls too. That's so
In
funny.
front of the kitchen where everybody needs to be. Oh my God.
Messy boot.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. What did you think about Dave's decision, the engagement, the breakup? That's what I want to talk about. So let's talk first about the breakup between Dave and Molly.
Well, he tries to save face, right? Like Molly is taking him to task, I think appropriately taking him to task and trying to pin him down essentially. And he saves face, right? He's basically like, well, I didn't say that. And like, all of this is fine. And okay, then fine. Like, bye, see you later. He,
That's not what I got at all. So
oh, I think he gets
so
his feelings
if
hurt.
I yeah, he did get his feelings hurt. Like when they're talking, he he's stringing her along. He's not breaking up with her. Like
Yes.
he's stringing her along so that if she's still interested, if she lacks dignity, that he can still like, "Oh, I'm so confused." And when she goes, "No, no, 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 no. Like you need to stand on it. Like are you breaking up with me? Like what's going on?"
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, now that you, I guess, like he makes her do it, which we're gonna put a pin in that because this comes up against
Mm-hmm,
later,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
in the series. He makes her have to verbalize that this is the end of their relationship, and
Absolutely.
then when he does that, she's like, okay, like cool. He's like, well, you don't sound upset. I'm like, why would you need her to sound upset, babe? Like,
That's what I meant by he saves face. He's like immediately like, well, why aren't you upset about this?
no,
Like,
I wouldn't describe that as saving face, but yeah, like, yeah, he's immediately like, well, why aren't you upset? Like he's indignant is not the correct word, but a milder form of indignation. Like he's
yeah,
kind of like, how could you not be like distraught at the
affronted.
thought of losing me, Dave, the plastic surgeon? Which I don't even think he's a plastic surgeon. I think he
No.
he restocks the supplies because he be real. He be real choosy with the words when he describes what he does. Like
Yes, he always uses the term aesthetics, and that's why I'm like, what do you really do? Because if
he
it's sales, just say that, babe.
yeah, medical device sales. I don't know why he didn't just say medical device sales. He's like medical device sales, but I guess the devices are for plastic surgery.
I
Okay.
guess. He's selling
Um.
you into Botox.
So now Lauren and Dave thoughts, engagement and proposal.
I just, Lauren wanted to be picked so badly. Like, she just wanted to leave here picked. And
She got
I
picked.
think she got picked and picked in a way that, one could say that a kidnapper picks them.
I mean, she got picked in a way that I don't think she like maintained. enough of her dignity, enough of her
Oh,
dignity, as
not a
much as she
stitch
should
out the
have.
lick.
Um, I don't remember their engagement. Again, I watched this like at this point almost 2 weeks ago. Um,
Nothing really exciting at all. And their reveal is kind of awkward.
I thought the reveal was a little meh. I was like, he might not be too happy with this.
I think, yeah. And then I think Lauren is, well, she brings this up in 7 through 9, but I think she's a little bit more awkward in person than she is through the wall,
Hmm.
which I think might be a stumbling block for them. But honestly, they're gonna have bigger fish to fry anyway.
Okay. Do you have anything else? Or are we ready to move on?
We're moving on. Are we moving on to the square?
The square. This is when I
Oh,
texted you episode 6. I was so disappointed.
oh my gosh, the
We
square.
we lost the whole square. I miss them.
The whole we do lose the whole square. I was not expecting to lose the whole square.
I know. I miss them. I do have some tea. We'll do it after we talk about the square about what you the drama that always
Mm-hmm.
get exposed
Mm-hmm.
of the
I
season.
mean, we see something interesting in the previews for
Yes,
9
I have
through
something about that
12.
too because when we spoke through episode 1, I was like, I remember the TikTok that they referenced in episode 7 through 9.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't realize it was Ben because there was also like
Oh,
there were like 6 men that had like some sort of like buzz around their name from this season, and they all look so similar that I kind of like mushed
who
the
could blame
stories
you, Ben?
together and I kind of forgot. And I was like, oh, none of them are here on camera. That was a lie. Ben was certainly on camera and he ain't the only one. But like the other two, I think Benji was one of the guys that has something about him. Just people being like like they treat girls poorly, like da 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 da. Which
Yeah.
again, mm, let's get into the square. The square. Alex, Madison, Mason, Meg. Um, the first thing we see, Mason
Mm-mm-mm.
confesses his love for Madison,
Mm-hmm.
and she hits him with the. She said, "What?"
And I think she might make that face too, like
No, she does. She
genuinely.
goes. She
My
went,
gosh.
"Oh no!" And then immediately starts like flirting with him.
Can I ask you how you feel about Madison? Because to me, it feels like she's stringing Mason along.
I kind of like Madison, but she is an emotional terrorist. Like,
Thank you. I don't like her anymore. I
I
don't.
I kind Madison had a few moments, like mostly in the girls' quarters, like just like of her interacting with women and like in the background and stuff, and then like one or two confessionals that I thought were like kind of funny, but like her handling of her relationships with the boys is like,
It's
yeah,
awful.
yeah.
I
I
have to
like
say.
all of the women, I'll be honest. Like they're all kind of like even like Sarah, like in some of the episodes, I like her. But I'm just like, you're not who you think you are, and like that and that's okay. Like you maybe she has to watch Love is Blind to see like that she's not
Very fair.
the person that she thinks she is. But I don't have like personality wise and like character wise, I don't have like any I don't have any gripes really with any of the women on the show. Um
No, I
like
mean,
Monica
yeah.
annoys me, like her sort of like exuberance and
I knew Monica would annoy you.
and high energy like
I love
is
her so
like
much.
kind of annoying, but like yeah, she seems like a decent enough woman.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so
Ugh,
Madison
Madison.
and Mason talk. Mason loves Madison. Madison loves Madison. So they're in agreement on
Madison.
that.
Wait, hold on. Say it again for the people in the back.
Mason loves Madison and Madison loves Madison.
Period.
But
Thank you.
Madison does not love Mason.
No.
Madison is a villain.
Madison is a villain, decidedly so.
Matt,
Yes.
yeah, Madison is a villain. She's a villain for sure. If there's ever a Love Is Blind heroes versus villains, she's firmly on the villain side.
I
Um,
wish they would put her up against Arena. Oh my God. That would be a great time.
then Madison, I don't know what the next conversation that we see, but we see the people talk. Now, Madison and Mason are the most interesting people in the square to me. Although I
Yes.
didn't want them to choose each other because I wanted them to choose the others so that we could
Mm-hmm.
see them all
Mm-hmm.
meet at the
Mm-hmm.
vacation spot.
Which would have been my Nana sauce. Absolutely perfect.
But like they are the two most interesting to me. And also I do want to note that like when Mason speaks to the girls, his voice drops about 4 octaves, and it
The
lands in
vocal
here.
fry is so
And
funny on
I'm
Mason.
just like, Mason, like you just didn't sound like that earlier in the boys' lounge. Like
Okay, Kim Kardashian. We love to see
what's
it, Mason.
going on, Mason? Um, he puts it on.
He does.
Um, but yeah, after that conversation though, Madison is pretty clear that like she doesn't want to be with Mason. She's leaning towards Alex.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
She goes to the girls' lounge. She lets them know that, and then she has a conversation with Alex, and she lets him know that. Do you have anything from the Alex Madison conversation?
Is this when they break up?
No, this is when she lets him know that she wants to. They become boyfriend and girlfriend, and he goes into the boys'
Oh,
lounge.
I think the only thing I remember is that they do a lot of pacing between the two of them. They are always moving and grooving.
I don't
Um,
remember. I don't remember much of this conversation, but I do remember the lounge. So, oh yeah. So after she tells him that she wants to,
I know, yes.
she wants to be with him, and she's gonna dump Mason. He's very excited, and then he asks her who the other guy is. He really wants to know. And so she tells him it's Mason, and he's like, "Oh, Mason, what a bummer. I love Mason. He's a really good pal of mine. Oh, that sucks." And he goes to the guys' lounge, and all the men are congratulating him, and Mason kind of comes up last, and they congratulate each other or whatever. But right before that, Alex lets Devin know that like, I know who the other guy is that she's gonna dump,
Alex was up to some nasty work in the lounge.
and he has no idea, and she's his number one. And he like makes a face as Devin, like as Mason is like letting him know, like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
like, congratulations on that,
He's
because
like,
Mason doesn't know that Alex is talking to Madison. Like he's smiling, he's smirking, he's making Mason look a fool. And I just want to
Alex does
say,
some nasty work in the
oh no,
lounge.
Alex is terrible. Mason and Meg talk, and their conversation seems fine enough, but like I don't remember much of it. Like whatever. Um, the next day, however, Mason is ready to make things official with Madison.
The way Alex is like
It's too much.
he's just like therapeutic. Like he's literally just like in Mason's face, like, are you feeling good about this? How do you feel? And I was like, this is nasty work.
He takes, like, what I noticed is that like he like says something to Mason the first. He's like, "Good luck," right? Which is fine. Like you know what's going on, but like that's not for you to say. And y'all've been
Mhm.
cool. You don't want to switch up on him. Cool. Good luck, bro. I hope it works out. Then when Mason goes and does something or goes and sits down, he like smirks at all the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Then he gets up, follows Mason, and starts inquiring about Mason's perception of the relationship between Madison.
Can I
Oh,
say something about this?
yeah, go ahead.
I think that this was Alex's like revenge fantasy. I I think that his whole bullied persona, no matter what he knows about Mason or doesn't, I don't know what happened with Mason in his childhood, but
Mason is
I
better looking than Alex, and Alex can see that.
and I think that this was his like beautiful revenge fantasy of being able to look at this man who he perceives to be better than him and be able to have one up on him and just kind of like get some revenge for whatever has happened to him in the past. And I was like, my poor Mason, my poor conspiracy theorist.
The reason I was so heartbroken that this square dissolved, and it only dissolved because of Alex's loser ass. I
Oh,
couldn't wait. I Oh my god, I would have paid money to see those doors open and Madison, fine ass Madison, look across that that walkway and see Alex goofy ass over there. Cause like let it be said though, Alex's voice is much deeper than his appearance. And I
oh, he
think
looks
that
like a
like
cherub.
with he does with like a really deep voice, like I think a lot of women, myself included, like assign attractiveness to like men with deep voice. And especially if you can't see that face,
See,
like his
see.
voice is a lot deeper than what his face is given. I couldn't wait for her fine ass to look across.
That would have been so. I mean, we're gonna get some version of it, hopefully, but
No, it's
that
not the same because
it's not the
she
same.
saw him for the first time like on Instagram or something, or maybe they even probably met up already. I wanted to see the initial like reaction on the Love Is Blind camera, and like you have to perform because it's like the TV show, it's the reveal
Yes.
moment. Like I wanted to see how she tried to hold it together because
I would have
I
loved
don't think
it.
there's a world where that woman chooses that man like in the free world.
No, not at all. And I think that we would have gotten one of Love is Blind's more diabolical editing styles when they put no music in the background. Oh my God, I love when they
Damn.
do that. They do it at the two extremes, either when the couple is like so happy and giddy and they're just like, no music, let us enjoy. Or
Silence,
they'll be
yeah.
like, silence, let's be uncomfortable together. And
Yeah.
I was so excited, and we're getting robbed.
Yeah,
Poor
so
Mason.
Mason goes in there and um Madison breaks up with him. And he's like he tries to cuz he doesn't want
Mm-mm-mm.
he got the what am I trying to say? His
The cream
contingency
pie?
plan,
Oh,
Miss Meg, and he doesn't want to lose that. He's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said those things to you. Again, it was terrible. I actually like I'm usually upset when people do this. I was fine with Mason doing this because like Madison, you've known for like a day and a half that you didn't want this boy. Like
yes.
let him have his dignity. Her need to like
Mm-hmm.
humble him was like it really gave Mean Girl like in this moment,
Yes.
and then her subsequent conversation with Meg, it was like really giving Mean Girl. Like he's like he doesn't say anything like terrible. He doesn't like try to disparage her. He doesn't come for her. He's just like, okay, like you're breaking up with me. Okay, like I shouldn't have said that. Which I think like he probably shouldn't have said that because I don't think he probably entirely felt that way. I think he was trying to push things along with her.
Yeah.
And well, maybe he felt that way. I don't know, but I definitely think like when he confesses his feelings for her, he's trying to like push things along and like solidify it. And so when he realizes it's not going there, he's like, "Yeah, I did kind of try to manipulate you. I probably shouldn't have did that." But also
Oops.
like, please don't go talk to my other connection because I kind of want to marry her now, and be on the show, please and thank you. Don't.
And Madison throws a Molotov cocktail into that
Yeah,
situation.
grenade.
Literally pulls the pin. Like she gets back into that lounge and she is on a war path
I
against
hated this.
Mason. I
I hated this.
hated this.
What did you think though?
I thought it was I think Meg's response to it was actually very like good, as neutral as she could possibly be. And she's already at this point in time in the series of episodes, including the first set, Meg is already kind of like grappling with like being second choice for Mason anyway. So I don't think Meg shifts that much. But Madison comes in there and she I think you said this, like tries to assassinate his character basically. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like he's awful, like he's she calls somebody a liar at some point, but that might be in the
She
preview.
she talked about him like he was Leo from last season,
Yes.
and
And she's Leo.
even Hannah was more charitable to Leo than Madison was to Mason. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, like I actually hated it because what I
Ugh.
really hated is that Madison sort of like made Meg feel like she was second choice instead
Mm-hmm.
of just being
Mm-hmm.
like, I didn't want him, whatever happens happen. Like she could have been like, hey, it was kind of weird that he tried to walk back like his confessions and my feelings, but like maybe like, and even that, like you could have just said that and left it there. I feel like he did try to like walk back like how he felt about me, but like, I don't care about him. I got a boyfriend. Like I'm good. It is what it is. And
Yes.
just let it go. And I think like not for nothing, like there was a huge stink made about Mason possibly having two girls and then like settling for Meg. But like, is that not just what happens in the real world? Like
Mm.
people date or they might be dating someone, then they meet somebody else and then they realize they like that person more,
It's also the bedrock of the friggin' show.
and then
Like
you
you,
just yeah, and then you just don't know who the other people that your person was dating before they ultimately settle down with you. That's
yeah, so it usually just doesn't happen simultaneously, but that's really the only
I mean, no,
difference.
my point is that it does happen simultaneously in the real world quite
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot. It's just that people aren't announcing it to you that like, hey, I got three other girlfriends, and then like 2 weeks later they're like, oh, actually you're the one now. Like what's happening is that like the guy you're talking to is probably going out or getting set up with or texting with multiple other women, and the girl that you're talking to is probably got a bunch of guys in her DMs, like doing all the things. And then like one of
Yes.
them pisses her off, she blocks them. Another one gets a girlfriend or gets a girl pregnant, she blocks him. And then another
Damn.
one
Oh
like
my
da da
God.
da da da, like you know, like
Not
some
the
or
not a baby mama in your example.
no, and another one is really bad at texting back. She blocks him, and then all of a sudden she has more time to focus on you. And then
Yes.
y'all go off and get married and have beautiful children. And then 30 years later, y'all are acting like you are experts on relationship and love when really y'all was both hoeing out until until luck put you where you needed to be.
Honestly, yes. I mean, that to me is not to be too much of a boomer, but that to me is supposed to be the original intent of dating anyway. Like that's why dating is a phase. Like you are getting to know multiple people, you are sowing your oats, looking at your options, whatever it is, and then exclusivity comes down. I don't know where we lost that, but that seemed. I always thought that that was what dating was supposed to be anyway.
Well, that's not what dating has been historically. That's what it's been in like in that's like kind of modern, right? But like we're living in modernity. So like let's just be
Yes.
real. Is it preferable for some people? No. Like a lot of people don't want to think that the person that they are with has a past before them. Shout out to
Yeah.
Dave. A lot of
Like,
people
God, don't
a
even.
lot of people don't want to know, and a lot of people are offended. Like we saw Clay on season 6 when he found out AD was talking to Matthew,
Ooh.
lose it. Like a lot of people don't want to know, and that's fine as well too. But like to your earlier point, that is the point of this show, though. Like that's what we do here.
It is. And my God, it's season 8. Like, why are we pretending like this isn't the case every single season? It is literally an experiment built to create these sort of kind of corners between people where they have to choose. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a 10-day pressure
And
cooker.
also, Madison, my sister, you're dating two men. You the same thing just happened with you where you were leading Mason on. You were purposely like talking to him very sexually to entice him to choose you, and then you chose somebody else. You just did the same thing.
And I would I'd be very interested to hear your opinion on this. I don't think Madison has liked Mason seriously in a whatever a long time is, a long time at this point
Yeah.
in time. Yes.
No,
It I no.
I think she like I think her accusation is a confessional. I think she is
Mm,
like she's very indignant about like how he's treating her because that's how she was intending to treat him. String him along like
yes.
right? Like the way what he she says that he's doing to Meg is what she's doing to him.
Yes.
String him along because you can see it like anytime there's like any like they're having so many like explicitly like the cream pie conversation, explicitly sexual conversation. She is inciting most of those conversations,
Mhm.
right? To try to like entice him to choosing her. And I don't think she really like liked him that much for at least like 2 episodes by the time they
Yeah.
break up. And and then once she chooses like Alex, like she can't just like let him go with dignity. Like if he's lying, he's lying. Just let him go. Like let him save
You
face and
don't
just
like him.
yeah, let him save space and be gone. Um, save face. Meg and Mason though that conversation.
Oh, I think so. This is after Meg throws that Molotov cocktail in the no, not Meg. Madison throws that Molotov cocktail in the lounge, and then Meg goes to Mason, and I think she's just very honest. I think she's very her black accent comes out a little bit, but very calm, cool, and collected, and just being like, hey, like I got some information, right? Like Madison told me what's up. I just don't want to be second choice to somebody in this way. And so, no, thank you, basically. Like, no hard feelings, sort of kind of.
Do you think Meg like did the right thing here?
I do.
You do?
I do. Because with the information that she has, because obviously we get more information because we can see things, but with
Um,
the information that she has, um, Madison does tell her, like, hey, like, he,
I think Madison I think if she doesn't have that conversation like she doesn't, which is why I wish she would have like taken that with a grain of salt and just went like what have our conversations been like what are my feelings
Mhm.
about this like because I like it is shown to us in the edit that there is some jealousy with Meg around Mason dating someone else, but she doesn't make that anyone's problem. Like,
No.
right? She's never like really upset about it. She's kind of joking about it in the lounge with the girls. My boyfriend's, oh, your girlfriend has a boyfriend, like sort
Yeah.
of thing. I think if she would have like taken that with a grain of salt and just kind of went through and went like, this is what I wanted to happen anyway, and if Mason is saying like his feelings are here, like let's see. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
it's very serious because it's an engagement, it's marriage, but like, I also a little bit of additional context. The streets are saying, and the streets have been saying for like a couple of weeks, that Meg and Mason got together in real life.
I that's what I thought I saw in the preview for 9 through 12 is when they do their what are they calling them now? Pod family,
Pod Squad.
pod squad, thank you. When they do their pod squad outing, it looks to me as though Mason and Meg arrived together and they're literally holding hands. And so I yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I got from the
apparently
preview.
they were pictured out and about in the big city, the Twin Cities,
I hope they get to go to Egypt together.
holding hands. Egypt. Oh,
Mhm. I hope they have all of their wildest mummy dreams.
that's so funny.
I'm sorry. I
I
just
hope
can't
they
get
get
over it.
detained in Egypt together for their.
Not detained. Not detained. Neither one of them is going to know how to call the State Department if
I
that
hope I
happens.
hope the Egyptian government do what they have to do for that disrespect.
That would
um,
truly be if at the reunion they're like, Mason and Meg couldn't be here because they've been detained by the Egyptian government. Netflix is working on their release. Cry. I would literally cry. We'd never see them again, but it would be hilarious.
okay, last but not least, Alex and again, I have an issue with the conversations between exclusivity and engagement for the pod people because we had a lot of that where people were just sitting on the
Mm-hmm.
pod talking to the person that they were and like skip me, miss me with all that, just show me them. But like we get that conversation, Madison and Alex here. What do you think here?
I I think Madison can't get out of her own way, to be honest. I really think that that contributes a lot to this conversation with Alex. He gets hung up on the avoidance thing again, where he's just like, my biggest worry would be the avoidance.
What's your perception of what happened in this conversation? Because I actually came away from this conversation thinking that Alex is mostly wrong. Um,
Oh, I came away from this conversation being like, Alex, think I just stood up for yourself, finally.
okay, tell me why.
Yes. Well, because I just feel like at this point in time, Madison is engaging in like a little bit of like negging is like not the right word exactly, but it's kind of giving like what you said earlier, like pickup artist kind of push pull situation. You might have said that off the pod. I don't
I said it
remember.
off camera.
Sorry, off camera. But kind of giving like this, I'm gonna like push you away and like wait for you to come back kind of situation. And I just think that Alex is like, this does not feel secure to me. I don't think it's like coming out of like I hate Madison or anything like that. But I think Alex kind of clocks it that like it does not feel secure to him. He does not feel
Where
confident.
does that happen? Where do you see that?
Well, I think, ooh, well, to me, the degradation or what am I trying to say? Hold on. The crux of this downfall is that he tries to be kind to Mason in this conversation, at least maybe neutral. I think he's being too kind to Mason probably, but he tries to be like kind to Mason and Madison is like just like not having it. She's like, that's not what I wanted to hear, which is like valid, I guess. But she cannot move on from that in that moment. And I think Alex's remembrance of like the avoidance kind of situation triggers, he brings that into the conversation and he's like, I don't like this. I don't like that, like, if you get upset, like, all of a sudden you shut down and you can't talk to me. And this has happened to me before and I don't want to participate any further.
So when I so when they're talking, so they start off they're having like a pretty normal conversation. Madison mentioned, no, 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 no. Like, here's what happens when Mason comes back in the lounge. Mason sits down, and here comes Alex to consult him again. I'm so sorry, buddy, that she broke up with you. What happened though? And Mason makes a comment to Alex. It's like, oh, the girls are over there talking, and I'm just afraid what that means for my connection with Meg, because he's like, I think Madison's gonna poison the well with Meg. They sit down and they have that conversation. And he's like, yeah, they're talking, and because Madison mentioned that this, that, and the third, and so I think Alex is now insecure because he's like, maybe Madison really doesn't want me, and I think he goes into the pod to try to get an answer to that question specifically, like if
Mm.
she's hung up on Mason, and her being anything other than like, oh, I don't care, was like enough of a red flag for him, because when they start talking about it, he brings it up. He asks her, and he's like, "Oh, it's like she's like pretty much like, ah, like whatever. It is what it is." And he's like, "Oh, like something, something, something. I'm sad about Mason. I don't remember the exact phrase."
Mm.
And she's like, "Yeah, but not too sad." Like, and then she said, she repeats what she said to Mason in their breakup, I think, which is try to have like two good things and then you lost both. Like,
Yeah.
and so Alex is like, no, 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 like, it's like effed up, like da 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 da. But he's doing this because he thinks like, because he doesn't know, he thinks like it's like more drama between Mason and Madison, and there actually
Yeah.
really was. Like, I think she was rude to him, but like it wasn't like really contentious. It wasn't like a bad breakup. Like
No, I was
she
not giving Leo.
she didn't want him. She hadn't wanted him for a while. She just also wanted to humiliate him, like not because she was hung up on him, just because she's mean. Like,
Yes, and oh well, never mind. I was gonna say she's something else.
and I think he spent too much time trying to like defend Mason when like he could have did a little bit of that and just been like, okay, like it is what it is, like we're together now, like let's move on, let's talk. And when she was kind of like, yeah, like I'm kind of upset that you seem to like be taking his side and are really coming down on me for your perception of events when like you weren't in those conversations, Alex. Like,
Mhm.
and until yesterday, you didn't even know those two were dating each other. Like, so, and I
Did you
think
think?
I think he's just become preoccupied with what that meant. Like,
Yeah.
because for as long as he's been into Madison, she's also been dating this other person who looks better than him, and he knows that.
Do you think it was a bit of a guilty conscience of the with Alex having a guilty conscience, the way that he kind of like overexerts
I
himself
think
in like
I
defending
think I think
Mason?
there's a world where Alex knows that after him and Madison get engaged, they're gonna meet Mason as a couple, and it might be curtains for that little relationship. And
Oh,
he's
yikes.
like, let me just go ahead and I flew too close to the sun. Like when you see this boy, you're gonna be sick. Like, no, I'm joking.
It's crazy. I would love to hear
No,
Alex
I
actually say
actually
that
think he did too
phrase.
much. I don't remember the conversation. Now, again, it's been a long time since I watched this episode, but yeah, I think he did too much. I do think that like he got like you said, he's sort of like, I don't know, he got hung up in like, oh, I know exactly what this is, when I actually think he's probably being a little bit more avoidant in this dynamic than
Yes, he's
she
very
is.
avoidant.
And yeah, I'm really really sad to see this because I feel like we could have gotten some good drama out of it. And I felt like that before I learned the tea that I'm gonna share with you once we're done
Thank
discussing.
you. I would like somebody to reassess their attachment styles because he's avoidant, but she's giving something else, and I can't remember my attachment styles right now. That's it. I don't
Okay, aren't
remember.
there
Is that
only
all?
three? Isn't there avoidant, anxious, and secure?
I think so. Is that all of our couples?
That is all of the situation. Joey and Monica aren't here because they're barely in this episode
Oh yeah, because they've been
or in this
engaged.
series of episodes.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. And we finally make it out of the pods.
and we finally make it out of the pods. I don't know what we spoke about on episodes 1 through 3,
Mm.
but we can do predictions. So,
Is it fair for us to do predictions knowing that we
oh yeah, we'll do predictions at the end of the next
yeah.
episode. We're gonna film the next episode, 7 through 9. We are a little, we've gotten a little shaken up, but by the time you see this, Episodes 1 and 3 would have been uploaded the day before, and episodes 7 and 9 would be uploaded the day after. So you'll get all of those,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll get back to our regular schedule of uploading. Um, I guess like it doesn't matter for Love Is Blind because it's already over. It's like a 4 week thing, but we usually upload the week after like airing. Um,
Yeah,
so
that's my
yeah,
bad.
you
I've
want
thrown
to
us off.
take us out, and then we'll film episode 7 through 9.
Yes. So, thank you guys for watching this episode of the Reality Roundup. Love is Blind. Please check out the description box below for our playlist for the rest of the season and to like, comment, and subscribe to our beautiful podcast. And we will see you on episode 7 through 9.
Bye.